Hi guys, just a quick one. Yay, I got out on my run. It went as bad as I thought it would be. It was still pretty tough. One, because of the heat, although it's not so bad today because it's clouded over, so it was quite cool. But yeah, the heat, and I woke up this morning. I was fine when I woke up this morning, but then as I was walking around the house, I just kept sneezing and feeling really bunged up. So I was like, oh great, it's going to be a really great, crappy day. But yeah, and then I've got out and I've been fine. I've not sneezed. I sneezed once just now when I was doing my cool down. Also, my ankle is feeling so much better, like so much better. Like I barely noticed it while I was running around. It was only as I've got back to the car that it feels a bit tight, so I've been trying to stretch it a little bit. But at least now I can rest up for the rest of the day or until we go and pick Bubs up from nursery. So yeah, I did walk quite a bit of it because I started getting like period cramps because I think I'm due on in the next like day or so that's probably why. And my legs just felt really achy, so I was like, I'm not going to push myself. I'm only going to do what I feel like my body can do. So, but I think I ran for 30 minutes and it was for 4 kilometers. So like I said, not my best times, but considering I haven't run in a while, it's really warm and I've still got really horrible hay fever. I think I did quite well. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with myself. I'm sure I'm really going to suffer now until I've had my shower with my hay fever and just wash all the pollen off. But we'll see. There's still no sign of the goddamn horse flies that we get like every year. And like as soon as I stop running, they just make a beeline for me and just start nipping at me everywhere. So I can't normally do my warm-ups. But I haven't seen any today. I don't know where they are. It's like, it's normally this time of the year that they come in. As soon as I start building up a sweat, they're there just to like sort of eat me alive. But yeah, luckily they're not in yet, so I'm making the most of it and actually being able to do my warm-ups. But anyway, it's 8:30, so I need to get going to see Bubs off because he's having his graduation photos today at nursery. So yes, we have to make sure he looks in tip-top condition before he goes, and looks like an absolute state for his photo. So, and also, yeah, it's my consultation today. So obviously next time I speak to you will probably be after that. So yeah, wish me luck with that. I'm quite anxious about it, so. But anyway, I'll give as much information as I can once it's all over. So I'll speak to you then. Hi guys, so it's Saturday, so apologies for like no real update or anything this week. Again, it's been atrocious. I was going to go running on Thursday, but then we woke up and it was absolutely pissing down with rain and I felt really tired, so I decided against it. Also, me and my hubby had to sort of rush that morning to get to the cinema in time. We'll have breakfast first and then go to the cinema to see the new Indiana Jones movie, which was amazing, by the way. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, so I didn't go running. I had a big fry up as my brunch because I didn't have breakfast. All I had was a cup of tea at breakfast, and obviously I didn't have lunch. And then we didn't have any snacks while we were in the cinema, so we were good in that sense. And I also didn't go pole that night either because I was so tired, and we had a bit of a nightmare as well with Bubs. He's just on one at the moment, like he's just driving us both insane, and it's just constant arguments right now. So mentally, I am just mentally drained at the end of every day because of how much of a little shit he is at the moment, and it is really, really hard. So yeah, so yesterday was a bad day as well in terms of we were meant to go to a home ed meetup, but I was just again so drained that I was just like, I don't trust myself getting into a car because I'm going to end up not having an accident in terms of like totally in the car, but something's going to happen, like I'm going to not like hit something, either the curb or whatever, or I'm going to like rear end someone because I was just so, my brain was just like it was like walking through treacle sort of thing. It was horrible yesterday, so I just couldn't face it. So in the end, me and Bubs made some pasta for the first time, like together. I've made pasta before but not with him. So yeah, and for the first time I actually got to use my pasta sort of making machine that my parents actually got me like years ago, because I'm obviously so obsessed with Italian food, and yeah, it's the first time I've actually ever used it. But it was like so much fun to use, and it was really easy to use and stuff. So me and Bubs had a great time using it. But we made some spaghetti, and then I put some pesto in it because I was so tired, I was not gonna make a sauce as well. So so yeah, we had pesto spaghetti basically, and it was like a really early dinner, but obviously because fresh pasta is quite heavy, so I was kind of like, well, I can't really, because I was trying really hard to watch my calories, so I was like, well, I'm not going to have anything else. So I ended up having my yogurt later and a cup of tea, and then but it came to my stream last night and I was absolutely starving hungry. So what do? My husband comes back with cakes from the cake lady. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have my smallest cake, which was basically a stuffed cookie pie but only half the size, and it was filled with like caramel, and it was the most amazing thing. But I just knew as soon as I ate it that it was gonna just, yeah, it was gonna be bad for this morning. Hence you would have seen this morning that I have actually gained a pound, because yeah, I think the last 2 days have just been absolutely atrocious in terms of, one, my mental health, and two, reflected in that is what I've actually been eating, and also physical activity, because yesterday I barely did anything. I literally, all I was doing was standing in the kitchen, so I ended up with crippling back pain. So then all I wanted to do if I weren't standing up in the kitchen was sit down, so, and like try and rest my back. So yeah, the last few days have been really atrocious. I have been on top of my water though. I've at least made sure I've done that. So the weight gain could have probably been a lot worse if it weren't for the fact that I was actually keeping on top of my water. So yeah, so that's how that's gone. But anyway, I needed to update you guys because obviously I was meant to update you. I was going to do it Wednesday, but then I was really tired on Wednesday and I didn't have much time. I was too busy like doing like housework, so I didn't have a chance to update you guys. And then I was going to do it Thursday after my run, like when my husband was dropping off Bubs at nursery, but I think I was in the shower or something. So yeah, it was just, there was never an appropriate time. And then I was going to do it when I went to Pole, but then that wasn't like, because obviously I didn't go, so yeah, I couldn't do it then. So obviously this is the earliest chance I've had since bloody Tuesday to be able to update you guys on what happened. So basically, yes, I had a half-hour call with the surgeon. It was so bad because I was sat there on the I clicked on the Zoom link for the meeting, and it said I was just waiting for the host to turn up. So I was like, right, well, it's 10 minutes till the appointment, so I'll just go a quick wee and then I'll come back. So I went away, came back, and she was sat there waiting for me, and I was like, oh shit, so she probably heard me like flushing the toilet and everything, like going to the toilet. And then like I was trying to get the video up. I first of all, I couldn't hear her, so then I had to adjust my settings for that because I hardly ever use Zoom. So I had to adjust my settings for that so I could hear her, but she couldn't see me. And then it took me like halfway through the bloody appointment for me to actually get the camera on. But because she had pictures of me anyway, she didn't really need the pictures anyway, so, or she didn't need me to show anything. It was just, she was like, it's obviously just nice talking to someone's, like seeing someone's face, especially if like you've got your face on show sort of thing. So yeah, so that started off well. But basically, yeah, she just wanted to ask me a few questions in terms of my age, my health, if I have any allergies to anything. Obviously they want to know if I'm allergic to general anaesthetic. Obviously I said I haven't really had to use, I think the only time I've had it was when I had my tonsils out when I was 8 and I was fine. Yeah, she wanted to know how many kids I had, how old Bubs was, whereabouts I'm based, just different things like that so she can work out, obviously, one, if obviously if I'm a smoker as well, because that can be a big health issue as well if you're going in for a major operation. So yeah, she just asked all those sort of questions, like general questions, and then she basically went through the operation like step by step, like what actually happens during it. And basically she was just reading out, or not reading out, but she was describing what the pamphlet that I got emailed to me by her assistant is, basically everything that was said on there. And I did say to her, yeah, I've read through it like several times as well as my husband. So but it's obviously nice to hear the person that actually does the operation. She's actually the one that will be doing it. So so yeah, she was just going through everything, and it is quite scary when you hear like all the things that they have to do, especially when they have to, like, this might be quite graphic for people with the muscles, like the muscle repair. It's basically she's going to put in permanent stitches. No, like, I think I can't think that, no mesh. She doesn't use mesh. She actually does the stitches instead. And yeah, they'll be permanent. So that's obviously the thing. It was weird because obviously for me the thing that, like, the most important thing for me is the muscle repair, but the one thing that she went into the most detail about was the tummy tuck. So yeah, so obviously that was that was what she was mainly going on about. But obviously the tummy tuck is the biggest thing in terms of, obviously, like she said, with the muscle repair, it's mainly just stitching the muscles back together. But with the tummy tuck, it's literally she's having to cut away a lot of flesh. and then pulling the skin down. And like she said, she'll have to move my belly button. So basically she has to cut a hole in the skin in the remaining flesh to where the belly button's gonna go. And then she has to cut a hole, and then like the belly button, which is still on the stalk, is then popped up through that hole. Really like just the thought of it just made me go a bit like just the thought of it is just like belly button just hanging on a stalk. But yeah, so she was going on about that, and she said by looking at the pictures, she says she would recommend lipo, mainly because I have like fat on my hips, for those that have actually seen the last video and me showing my pictures. So she said, I can't tell if you have it like above the belly button as well. She said, unfortunately, I can't do anything about your stretch marks above your belly button. I was like, honestly, I do not care about stretch marks. Like that's a sign that obviously I've given birth to a heifer of a baby, so I don't really mind about keeping like stretch marks. My stretch marks I don't think are that bad. I don't think I have much fat around like just under my boobs. I think my fat area is like just, it's always been around my tummy and above my hips. So so that's what she was suggesting for the lipo. So yeah, so she was talking all about that, and she was talking about like the recovery. So she said the first 2 weeks are the worst, because obviously you can't shower, all the you have to keep obviously the stitches dry, you have the drains in, so you have to be careful with the drains. I have to buy little bags to put them in. I'll feel very bruised and in a lot of pain, because obviously where obviously the muscles have been stitched together, and obviously my stomach would have been cut open and things would have been moved around. So there's that. I'll barely be able to move. So everyone will have to do everything for me. And obviously, yeah, I have to be bent over double to make sure that I don't stretch my stomach too much, and that yeah, I don't like pop any stitches or anything. And then she says that, I think she advises, because she asked like if I'm quite active in terms of like sports and stuff, and I said I do run. I didn't mention pole fitness because she just said extreme exercises. She said wait up to 6 weeks, and she did say 6 weeks for running as well. So she said just to give the scar a chance to sort of heal and strengthen, because she said obviously if you do anything too strenuous, you could sort of burst open the scar, you could rip the scar or whatever. So so yeah, so that was interesting. Trying to think what else she talked about, like obviously drinking plenty of water, try and eat as much protein. She did say that they have like a program, I think when they sent me the email, I think it was like 350 quid, and it's all like vitamins and oils and different things in terms of make it like minimizing the scar tissue, as well as obviously getting it to heal as quick as possible, so you're able to get back to normal life as quick as possible. But yeah, it's 350 quid, and I think you have to start taking like the supplements like 2 weeks before you go in for your operation or whatever. But she said also just use bio oil. She said it's like it if you just want to minimize the scar. And to be honest, I think that's what I'll probably do. I'll probably just end up buying some bio oil. But yeah, I can't shower for the first 2 weeks because the dressing that will be on obviously the scar, or like the stitches, will not be waterproof, but it's because they're kinder to the skin, so it means that they won't be waterproof. And then when I have the dressings redone, they will be waterproof, and obviously they'll just be different like material and stuff. I'll have to wear a binder. So she's sent a link to a website which I've actually seen a lot of people use to buy basically this whole sort of fully formed like sort of bodysuit thing to try and keep everything secure and where it is. So she sent me a link for that. I've looked, and I think they're like just under £100 to actually buy one of these binders. So that's another expense. But yeah, she told me where the hospital is, where she would advise that I get the operation done. She says she's there like 70% of the time. That's where she does most of her operations. And she said because it's in the south of London rather than actually in central London, they're not trying to usher you out the door the next day, because obviously I will have to have an overnight stay in hospital just so they can keep an eye on me, make sure I'm moving as much as possible, and also to keep an eye on like my pain and stuff like that. So yeah, it is a like scary thought in terms of just like how much you have to go through. But then every single person that I've seen on like surgery groups and stuff talk about, yeah, how difficult it is, but then how it's totally worth it. And it's like the whole thing of like, if I can spend 24 hours giving birth to the heifer that was Bubs, I'm sure I can go through this operation. And the fact I've lived with this like stomach condition for ages, like this issue with my stomach for like nearly 5 years. It will be 5 years, won't it, by the time I actually have the operation. So because that's another thing as well we talked about, was when I could have the operation. She never said anything about it not being possible whenever I mentioned a date, so that's good. She said, because I said, oh, originally I'd wanted it done in August because I wanted to get it done before Bubs finished nursery. But I said, but obviously because I want to lose 20 pounds of weight, that's not going to be physically possible to do in August. So I said probably later down the line. I did say either end of September or end of October, beginning of November, because we'll be hopefully be spending all of October in Italy. So she said it probably would be better to do it November, December time, because one, it will be in winter, so it won't be as sweaty, so it won't be as uncomfortable when you're in like a full body binder thing, and obviously where you can't shower and stuff. So yeah, so she said like sometime in November would probably be better. And then yeah, that was basically it. So she said that, and then she basically gave me, because she said, so would you want to go for the lipo? And I said, well, I would need to know how much it is, because obviously that's the main thing for me, is just like the price of stuff. So she was like, okay, what I'll do is I'll get my assistant to send you 2 quotes, so you can have one quote with how much it will be with lipo, and then another one without the lipo. So I was like, oh, okay. So I think she came back to me not the same day. I think it was the next day they sent me a quote. But what they do is they split the quote in 2. So I was sent a quote. It was a rough quote for what the hospital fee would be. So obviously that's the overnight stay and obviously all the facilities that you use in the hospital, plus the anaesthetist, because obviously the anaesthetist works for the hospital. So I had that as well, but they could only give me a random estimate because they could only give me like a sort of a rough figure of what they expected it to be for the hospital, because it's the hospital itself that should give me the quote. And then they gave me a quote for the surgeon's time. So it's like you look at it originally and you're like, oh, that's not so bad, but then you realise that you have 2 quotes that you have to add together, and it's like, oh, okay. So basically, to have a tummy tuck with lipo and the muscle repair, it would come to £11,300 and like 25, or no, £11,325 or something. I'll put the actual figure up. So that was for tummy tuck with lipo and muscle repair. To have the tummy tuck with muscle repair without lipo, it was 8,800 and something. Again, I'll put the actual figure there. So yeah, it was like, I expected it to be around between 8.5 and 9 grand, like for the, like without the lipo. So the fact it was like 11,300 with, I was kind of like, yeah, that's kind of like a figure I think I was thinking more like 12 grand for the lipo. But I was like, oh, okay. So I was talking to my husband about it and everything. And originally I'd said about the fact that I didn't want the lipo because I just think like it's more money. We don't have, like, we're going to have to use like not only just my nan's inheritance, part of my husband's bonus, but we're also going to have to put the rest on like credit card and stuff. So I was like, it's like just being in more debt. But then like the more I've thought about it and everything, I'm like, I have always been so self-conscious about my body, and I've always just hated my body for like no reason other than just the fact that I hate it. I've just always hated the way I look. So I'm kind of in that frame of mind, like, why pay out that much money and go through that sort of trauma, that physical trauma of having to have the operation, and then not come out 100% happy with my body, because I'll still like the bits on the side, like the fat that I have on the side. No amount of exercise will get rid of that. That's just how my body is, but lipo can get rid of it. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm just like, it's 2.5 grand extra. I mean, it is a lot to us. It is a lot of money, like I said, because that's going to have to go on our credit card. And like we're like a single income household. So it's just one of those things. Like my husband said about the fact that if it makes me happy and it makes me feel like we've done the best in terms of just, 1, mentally, and 2, physically sorting out my body just to try and get into the best shape that I can, then he's happy to go for it. So yeah, so in the end we've decided that, or I think we have decided that it's basically going to be lipo. And then I spoke to my mum the next day and like told her the figures as well, and basically she's asked if I can try and get the operation for like the beginning of November, or like, yeah, just like the first week of November or whatever, because it's like, because she's going to fly over, and she's going to obviously stay with us for the first 2 weeks, like, of me after having the operation, so she can help with Bubs and she can help around the house with my husband and stuff. So for her, it makes it easier, I think, to come at like the beginning of November because of flights and everything from Crete. So yeah, originally we said about mid-November because obviously if we're going to spend the whole of October in Italy, chances are that I'll gain some weight. So I want to have those 2 weeks to try and lose as much as possible. Not that I'll probably be able to lose much in like just 2 weeks, but still. There's that. So that gives us in terms of a date to aim for in terms of November as a date to get things done by. Also, my mum asked about like if I'm going to go for lipo and stuff, and I said I most likely will, and she agreed. She said it's, if you're going to go through something like that, you might as well get like everything that they're offering, sort of thing. And if it's something that it's not breaking the bank, it's just obviously it's added debt, but it's debt that we were going to have anyway, sort of thing. So my mum like was basically said, yeah, you should go for lipo. I was surprised when she said that, because I didn't think she'd be like that for it, but yeah, she was like, I think you're right that you go for the lipo just so you can be 100% happy with what you're going. Like if you're going to go through that much, again, like what I said, if you're going to go through that much physical trauma on an operation, you might as well have the full hog so you can be 100% happy with it. So yeah, so that's the plan. So it's going to be like £11,300. Like I said, I've got some of my nan's inheritance to pay for it, as well as my husband's half of my husband's bonus, bless him. So yeah, so that's gonna go towards it, and the rest will go on credit card. So basically what I have to do now, because I've now also in that time I have heard from the hospital who have officially given me the quote, and basically the quote that the assistant gave me for the surgeon was like £1 out, I think, for what the hospital actually quoted me. So now what I've got to do is I've got to get in contact with the woman from the hospital who rang me to say that that is what I'm going to go ahead with, that I agree with the lipo quote rather than the like without lipo quote, and that I'm happy with the numbers and the figures and stuff. So she sends it on to the surgeon, who will then send me a booking form for me to fill in, and then that gets the ball officially rolling. Because of the last 2 days being just really a head fuck for me with Bubs, I've not had the chance to email her. I might try that today, or at least this weekend, get it done. We're actually over to stay with my husband's brother this weekend, so we're staying overnight tonight. Might be able to do it while we're there, I don't know. See how I get on. But yeah, so that's currently, you're now physically up to date. You are up to date on everything that's happening in terms of with the operation. As you can see, like I said, I gained £1, which I'm really not happy about, but I do honestly think that's just where the last 2 days have just been a car crash mentally for me, and I'm still trying to get out of that funk. But I do actually think it's a hormonal thing as well, because I was due on my period like 3 days ago and it's still not appeared. So I remember when if you've watched back the other week where I gained £2, and it was that week I felt so bloated. And apparently that was I was ovulating, so that was my ovulation week. So this week I'm supposed to have been on my period, but my period is always so bloody unpredictable. So yeah, I just think it's probably the hormones again that's making me feel crappy. So I'm hoping next week will be better and I'll actually lose £2, so I'll make up for the fact that this week I gained £1. We'll see. But anyway, so we have a physical goal and we have a physical unofficial deadline of the beginning of November to lose, and I've got in my head £20. For me, that's realistic, because at the moment I'm at 181, but I want to get to 160. Yeah, so £20 by November. So it's the 1st of July, so that's all of July, August, September, and all of October. So I've got 4 months in which to lose £20. Can I do it? Let's see. Pray for me that I can lose it, and that, like, yeah, I've said to my husband about the fact that, because obviously we're driving to Germany in a couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about. So the plan was for us to drive to Italy. If we drive to Italy, it means I can pack things that I actually would like to take, so like my weights and stuff. So yeah, so I hope that if Germany goes okay in terms of the drive, that my husband will be like, yeah, we can drive to Italy. So it means I can pack my scales. That way I can keep on top of my weight while we're there, because it's going to be so important for me that I don't gain any weight while I'm there, just to make sure I can keep on top of things. So yeah, anyway, I'm just rambling now and this video is going to be incredibly long. But yeah, so I think that's everything now. So fingers crossed for me that I can lose the £20 in 4 months because the clock starts now officially. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was informative for you. If you have any questions about anything, then please do leave a comment below and I'll try my best to answer as well as I can. If you did like this video, then please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. You can also follow me on social media, all the links will be down below. And on that note, I'll say love you guys and I shall see you all in the next video. Bye.